Hello there, this is Dominic Steele from Christians in the Media and also Village Church in Sydney. And in this Reading the Bible segment, we're in the Old Testament and the book of Numbers, and it's actually chapter 20. In this segment, we see the people sin and also their leader, Moses, sin. And God extends mercy to Israel, but he gives justice to Moses. Verse 2 of chapter 20, there was no water for the community, and the people gathered in opposition to Moses and Aaron. Now that's a familiar pattern for us. They've quarrelled with Moses, verse 3, and said, if only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord. Now, despite their grumbling, God doesn't give them justice, he gives them mercy. He doesn't punish them for their grumbling, for not trusting him, for acting rashly, for not honouring him. God prescribes mercy. How does he go about doing that? Well, Moses is involved. God gives instructions to Moses on how the people are to receive that mercy. So God tells Moses exactly what he wants him to do. Very precise instructions and on how the mercy is to be obtained. Moses is to speak to the rock and ask the rock for water. But look what Moses does instead. So sentence 9, Moses took the staff from the Lord's presence, just as he'd commanded him. He's told to go take the staff, ask the rock for water in front of the people. But what happens next is that Moses doesn't speak to the rock as he's been commanded to, but rather he turns and addresses the people. Listen to what he says to them, sentence 10. He says, listen, you rebels, must we bring you water out of this rock? Then Moses raised his arm and struck the rock twice with his staff. And it does actually sound, when you read it, like Moses has lost his cool. I mean, he's way out of line. He's supposed to be the representative of God. God hadn't told Moses to abuse the people. God didn't lash out in anger. But Moses abused them. Moses lashed out in anger. And actually, even more out of line, if God metaphorically is the rock, the source of water, it's almost when Moses goes with the staff and belts the rock, as if Moses gives God a clip around the ears. Moses' behaviour is dishonouring of God. And so God brings justice. Verse 12, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, because you did not trust in me enough to honour me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land I give them. Moses doesn't now have the privilege of leading the people into the promised land. He has a problem as a person. He didn't do the right thing. He didn't trust God. But he has a problem as a leader. He did his sin as a leader in front of the people. You didn't trust me enough to honour me as holy in the sight of the Israelites. What Moses did was wrong, but it was worse because as a leader he was sinning in the sight of the Israelites. Now in the New Testament, James warns the people he's writing to in James 3, sentence 1. He says, not many of you should presume to be teachers, my brothers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. Moses is rightly judged more strictly than the rest of the Israelites. He knew more. He had a better understanding. God had higher expectations of his leaders. There is a double standard. Moses' sin had implications for himself, but it also had implications for the wider people of God. Moses dishonoured God in the sight of the people. See, if you are set aside to spend your life teaching and preaching, leading the word of God, more is expected. And so for leaders who sin, 1 Timothy 5 verse 20, those who sin are to be rebuked publicly so that the others may take warning. Christian leaders, particularly today, need to hear this, to be warned so that others might take warning. Bible study group leaders, be warned. It is not a light thing to take on a responsibility of being a leader in the people of God.